Buddy, welcome back to Buddies on Buddies, show with two real life buddies talking about buddy action comedy movies. I'm Kenny Lane,
I'm Lucas Hill.
and this is the
We're
Buddies
buddies
on.
on buddies.
Yeah, this is it.
Nice.
How you doing, Lucas?
I'm okay. Getting over COVID.
Yeah, how was it? You're a champ. You beat it. You beat COVID.
Yeah, but I'm going to fall dead from a stroke in 3 months from now. And then I'm like, you still had COVID.
You're so pessimistic. Last time we were talking, or a couple times on the phone, you're always like, "Well, you're gonna die in a year." And I'm like, I am. Like, why? You're always like, "Well, I'll be dead in a month." And even like back, 20 years ago, we were like, "We're all gonna die in the streets." It's like, this is Tempe. No one's gonna die in the streets, man.
That's so funny. It sounds like something 20 years ago I would have said. We're all going to die in the streets anyway. And
yeah, it's Tempe.
Maybe I was 20
Central,
years a little ahead, maybe in 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we still could get gunned down in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Anybody can die in the streets, Kenny. And in my defense, we spent a lot of time in the streets back then. I
think we were more in your parents' like front yard and backyard and
I was suburban streets. We would go for walks to the park and take hallucinogens. But yeah, we're
gonna get killed in front of my mom's house right there someday, guys.
We're gonna get killed on our way to 7-Eleven buying candy because we're high.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Had a decent 4th of July when my nephews came over and my sister and her family, my brother-in-law went down the beach, saw some fireworks, cranked some tunes, drank some beers. It was your, good old 4th of July celebration. How about you? What'd you do?
I had COVID, remember? So I couldn't go anywhere.
Oh, shit. Did you have a window you could watch a firework out of or anything?
We drove up to Mulholland, I think I did that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah.
We found like
fun.
an isolated
you see them all over.
Yeah, you see them all throughout the valley. That's the side we chose. So it was really cool. And at first it was like, oh, these are kind of suck because we were isolated. And then like 2 big shows happened right in front of us. Like, oh, it was great. Yeah, so it worked out well.
Nice. Well, happy late 4th of July to you, sir.
Well, happy 4th of July to you. I know this is one of your favorite holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of your favorite Oliver Stone movies.
Maybe top 5.
I love that movie. That movie's bad shit because it starts melodramatic, like made for TV, rah.
Yeah.
And it devolves into fucking insanity. I love that movie. It's fucking crazy.
Oliver Stone, I can't believe he was so, revered in like the early 90s and the 80s and stuff. Like a lot of his movies are really fucking silly and the politics aren't that good and like they don't really make a lot of sense. And what he does with history, like throwing around facts that aren't true and shit. Like it's pretty goofy, but his movies are very entertaining. I will give it that.
Yeah, he has the subtlety of a fucking jackhammer when he's trying to talk about satire and politics.
Yeah, I watched Nixon a year or 2 ago, and it was so fucking overwrought. It was laughable. The whole movie, it's got that Natural Born Killers, like black and white, shaky camera, close up on eyes, and and it's just he's just giving like a little address, like.
And I hated that shit when I was younger. Now when I revisit his movies, I love all that shit. So I don't know if it's something.
Yeah, it could.
I appreciate now because it's so batshit crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and also it's hard, like Nixon, like knowing who's Henry Kissinger and all this shit when you're like 13 or something. Well, okay. Well, what did you see this week?
What are we reviewing this week before that?
We're watching The Man from Toronto, which is a 2022 movie, brand new. Just came on Netflix. It's a Sony Pictures / Netflix production, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but yeah.
Yeah, but directed by Patrick Hughes and starring Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson.
Before that, I did watch other stuff. We talked about the Tender Bar. Oh, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. Did we talk about that?
I think we talked about it off, like when I called you like a week ago when you had COVID and stuff, but I don't think we talked about it on air.
I thought it was very funny. Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about it over the phone. I thought it was very funny. So did my wife. You have to like Beavis and Butthead, but I think they're fucking hilarious. You get funnier the older I get. So I highly suggest it. Did you check it out after I suggested it to you?
I haven't, because I don't have Paramount Plus, so I'll have to get it or something. Yeah.
Oh, then I watched the Adam Sandler movie Hustle, the basketball scout.
Oh yeah.
You were
talking a little about that too, but it's the Scout. That movie. With Albert Brooks.
Yeah, it's the Scout.
That's one of his worst movies, even though he didn't direct it out.
It is, and it was better than this version. It's fine. It's fine.
Really? It's worth a watch though, or
Yeah, it's worth the watch if you're with someone. You just want to throw in a movie that's going to be completely inoffensive, you know.
I think we're gonna get into later made for Netflix releases and how what they're about. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit. Yeah. Did you see anything else?
One more, and I think I already talked to you about this too, because I haven't seen much with TV, is Blue Chips. The one,
Yes.
the Nick Nolte, directed by William Friedkin, written by
Mhm.
Ron Shelton. Those are three of my favorite people in Hollywood. They came
And a
together
young-
to make this very
yeah.
mediocre, not good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the theater when I was like, 11 or 12 or something. But yeah, I remember it just kind of being a little over my head, little, I don't
It's
know
not
what
over your
else
head.
going
It's
on,
heavy-handed and sucks.
but- Oh, it's heavy-handed. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I love Nick Nolte. Like I said, I like all those people. It's Shaquille O'Neal's like, has a decent supporting part, even though it's
Mhm.
not much of a stretch of an acting.
He's good in it
job
too.
thing.
He's pretty endearing.
Yeah.
I can see why they go, hey, he's got a future in movies. He didn't, but I can see
Right.
why they all thought that.
Right. Well, I was thinking about revisiting that movie, but now that you said it's not really worth checking out, it's because we should say like James Caan died today.
Yeah.
I saw the program like last year, and
Mhm.
I really enjoyed. Have you seen that in a while?
Not in a while. I remember it being really fucking crazy. Like I rewatched
Yeah.
it since when it came out when we were younger. And
Uh-huh.
still thought this is fucking like when he's on his motorcycle. I remember a very weird
Uh-huh.
motorcycle sequence that's very like movie. It doesn't
Uh-huh.
have anything to do with anything.
Yeah.
Do I remember,
Well,
remember that correctly?
Well, it was kind of like I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there's a scene just like that. But it was kind of controversial at the time because there was that scene where they all laid out in the road, and then people,
Oh, right.
football players were doing that, getting run over. So this is like kind of like very controversial, kind of edgy movie. And watch it now. I don't think it's that edgy, but it does, it doesn't really pull its punches, but it's pretty entertaining, pretty not intentionally amusing a lot. So I think you would like it as
I'll
far as
check
like
it out.
grabbing some beers and it's on YouTube. I just saw it for
Oh, wow,
free.
great.
So
Great. That's
yeah.
what's funny about Chips is like it was like edgy, like I won't take money to play my players. It's like now everybody's
Yeah.
paying their players, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
kind of a fucking asshole, Nick Nolte, even though he's supposed to be the
Yeah.
hero. It's really funny.
Right.
Did you see We Own This City? I think I suggested that to you, the 6-part series.
We own this city.
This City on HBO.
No, I haven't checked that out. Don't have HBO Max either. I just watch VHSs and DVDs. I don't have all your
Whatever's
subscriptions.
available on YouTube.
Whatever's available on YouTube. That's all I need. I don't need, the Max and the Paramount Pluses and the Disneys and all that shit.
All those bells and whistles. Nope.
Yeah.
I'll watch the program. Thank you very much. Free on YouTube.
Fuck yeah, Will. Don't need these 8-hour-long documentary fucking crap.
I'll be real quick then. We Own the City is a 6-part miniseries from the makers of The Wire about true story about corrupt cops in Chicago. It's fucking great. The best part that I think that you would like from it is, hold on, I forget his name. I have to look it up. The guy who plays Josh Charles. Do you know that actor?
Josh Charles? Is that the guy from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead?
Yeah, kind of sweet baby-faced guy.
Yeah.
He plays the biggest piece of shit cop.
I bet he'd be convincing on it. Yeah.
Really funny
Yeah.
casting, but the
Nice.
show is fucking phenomenal. Highly suggest it. You'll be bored
Okay.
after a half hour and go, what the fuck is this? But for everybody else out there.
But intellectuals out there will probably enjoy it.
Intellectuals, like
Kenny over
Lucas.
here will be like, what the fuck is this? Yappy.
Where are the fart jokes? Come on, one
Yeah,
fart joke would kill him.
I'm gonna put on Beverly Hills Cop 3. Fuck this. Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah. Well, I decided I think I talk about too many like little esoteric movies on here a little too much. So I wanted a big movie that everybody knows. The cultural Zeitgeist. Is that right? Or whatever the fuck this word is.
I'm not Nazi.
Yeah. So I watched Beautiful Girls from 1996.
The Uma Thurman, Matt Dillon one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dipshit.
What's his
This guy.
name?
Yeah, you know it.
Timothy Hutton. Always liked him. I guess he
Yeah,
raped a girl in a
I
hotel
was-
some years ago. No, he's
Did
in a
he?
bit
Wow.
of a pickle.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. 'Cause he's one of my favorite actors. No, he's down there, Richard Gere, which I hate everything he's in.
But I like Timothy Hutton. Look, if Bill Cosby could get out of it, Timothy Hutton. Can get out of it.
Are you a Timothy Hutton apologist? Is that what I'm hearing?
He's the first guy I'm going to apologize for. I've always been about the
Wow.
victims until Timothy Hutton, not my Hutton.
That's where you draw the line. You're not canceling Hutton. God damn it.
I'm going to go to law
Well-
school and get study and become a lawyer just to save
Wow.
Timothy Hutton from his Me Too
Yeah.
movement. No, sorry. Anyway, what'd you think of it?
Beautiful girls. Okay. Well, living in a
Michael
small
Rappaport,
town.
right?
Well, yeah. Well, I hadn't seen it since I was like 15. I grew up in small towns in Eastern Oregon. Now I live in a small town in Washington. And I remember it being like a kind of a good movie about like small town life when I was like a teenager. And I remember particularly like the cast was good. And
Oh,
dialogue
Rosie
was
O'Donnell,
good.
comic relief. Come on.
Yeah, the cast was good. Dialogue's good. So it was one of those where I was, making it fall asleep. I was like scrolling around on Hulu, just, I was like, oh, this movie. And I remember this. I haven't seen it in like 25 years. Watched it. Yeah, the things I thought were good or not good do not ring true at all as far as like small town people. Timothy Hutton, Michael Rappaport, Rosie O'Donnell, didn't buy any of them as small town folk. That what they talk about is very much how they talk, like in that it's like in the wake of the Tarantino Miramax movement where they're riffing on old 70s shows and waxing philosophical, and it just nothing rang true about this movie at all. But
Everybody
Yeah,
who moves out of
anyway.
small towns and movies are huge successes. Like, oh, you're a great novelist now, or you're a big movie star. You come back to this small town.
well, yeah, and everyone
Sometimes
in
they're failures, but usually not. Usually they're huge successes.
well, they come back. They're like failures or big successes, but they come back and everyone's just like wowed by them, and everyone's like stuck in a rut and they can't believe it and stuff like that. I don't know. I think a lot of these movies about small towns are written by guys from New York or LA.
Yeah.
That's what
The
they
reality
kind
is, you come back
yeah.
to your small town and no one gives a shit. They moved on with their life. You go to a bar and go, "I'm
Yeah,
back."
Who are you? Well, and also if you've been really like plugged into where you're at, like there's people lost track of you because you weren't talking to them all the time, or you haven't seen these people in like 15 to 20 years. They've been seeing the same people every day. Well, anyway, so didn't hate it. Ted Demme wasn't badly directed, so which he died after he didn't blow. He could have had a career. I don't know, but and the Natalie Portman, Timothy Hutton.
That's really
subplot,
creepy. Yeah.
That's really creepy now, especially like the whole everyone knows like grooming and stuff like that. So that's not charming at all. That's just a creepy subplot. But
Very
anyway.
creepy. She was cast a couple times in parts like that when she was not of
like
age.
the professional stuff like that. Yeah, very creepy movie too. But
well,
great one. But
yeah, that's a
really
great one.
creepy.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
As far as
That's
creepy
a
movie goes,
top 5 creepy movies.
those French, man, they have something else with sex. It's not healthy.
No,
All right, Man from Toronto.
it's called frog fucking. Anyway, all right,
What is it called?
frog fucking, because French people are called frogs.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're all perverts. So
Yeah, I know that.
you
That I
you
know.
so you say you a frog fucker, Frenchie?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because they like the. Oh, I got you.
I just made that term up.
I believed you. I thought it was some World War II reference
Yeah.
or something.
That's why I call it frog fucking, Lucas. It's those Frenchy perverts.
Ribbit.
A bit. Why don't you find a frog to fuck?
God damn Americans.
Ugly American.
Ugly American. I haven't fucked a frog in 3 years, maybe. All right, let's get into Man
Let's
from Toronto.
segue right into
Yeah,
the
right
Man
in
from
there.
Toronto. Okay. The Man from Toronto. Yeah, so I already kind of introduced it. I guess, well, I should probably tell what it's about. The story essentially is this down on his luck, like aspiring entrepreneur. It has a case of mistaken identity with the world's most badass assassin. And then the government seizes him and they say, well, you have to keep impersonating him so we can figure out who the bad guy is. Then the assassin meets up with him. They kind of team up and hijinks ensue from there. And, Kevin Hart plays the mild-mannered guy. Woody Harrelson's the badass assassin. So it's a new one. We don't really do too many of these brand new movies. It's in the top 10 of Netflix right now for the week or something. I think it's doing okay for them. What did you think of The Man from Toronto overall, Lucas?
I thought it fucking sucked. And I kind of feel bad. I was like the one like, no, we got to do the new movies when they come out. Now I'm not as adamant about that. Here's the thing. The new movies are all clean and polished and stylish because they're new. They have a higher budget. They
Yeah.
lack the charm of the bad old movies that are just
Exactly. Yeah.
charming because they're so bad and they didn't have the time. And it was the 1970s or 80s. So the car crashes are real. This was all green screen, like surprisingly a large amount of green screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It's just, look, if you love Kevin Hart and you love his stuff, you're gonna enjoy it. But I've never been a big fan of Kevin Hart. He seems like the nicest guy in the world, sure, but I'm not a big fan of his brand of humor. Though he does have his moments, but it's not enough to carry a movie for me. Woody Harrelson was horribly miscast. Obviously, it was Michael Stratham. It was his part, and then I did research, and it was his part. He dropped out. Anyway, overall, no, I did not like the movie. I thought it was boring. I couldn't wait for it to end. I have some more pros and cons, but what did you think overall?
Well, I thought it was pretty uninspired. The whole thing. That's what I kept thinking. Just uninspired. There's nothing. Oh yeah, that's a cool hook. That's an interesting casting. Like nothing about it. It was all very product-y. Just kind of like you put it in a computer, it could have spit this movie out, you know. And it ran out of steam really fast. Like the opening scenes aren't that bad, establishing the characters, you know, and they're kind of cliche, but like within 10 minutes, it was just like, oh, this movie just lost all momentum. And I remember by the like I was just kind of like, how long? I was one of those where I kept pausing it to see how much time was left.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh my God, this is only halfway over. And it's like, oh my God, there's still a fucking half hour left of this shit. So yeah, I like you basically what you said about like I think I prefer like a lot of the older ones because of the charm and the of the older movies, and this one it was just kind of painful, and the special effects were awful. The green screen stuff like Skip Trace, but just really stood out. I never believed they were in the airplane. I think when they land, it almost like they walk in that green field. Are they walking in like a whole green screen thing?
Yeah,
like it just.
I don't know if
that
they used
really bad.
It was just pure green screen, or if they used some of that 360 technology that they use in like the Star Wars things, but Star Wars shows. I think it was just green screen.
It looked fake. It did not look like they were walking through a real field even. And
it lost me in the opening, because in the opening when he's doing those bits where he's selling products, I predicted every single way those products were going to fail him. And it happened every single time.
This one's going to snap him in the face. Yeah, and this one's, the bar's going to fall off.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's going to pass out and then every single thing happened. I'm like, I'm in for a long ride. And I was. It truly was.
It was a very long ride. And you think Woody Harrelson was really miscast? I didn't think he was necessarily bad in it, but I think Jason Statham would have been a little tiny more elevated, because it would have been Hart and Statham kind of thing.
There's chewing on my eyes. Do you hear that? Is that annoying? Do most people who do podcasts chew on ice?
Yeah, we're supposed to be eating shit like Cheetos and shit while you're talking into a microphone. But
no, I never heard that rule. But I never heard that rule.
Never heard that rule.
No.
Okay, well,
I don't even have a cough button, and I have a cough. So here's the thing.
Well, if you're making a good point, you can keep chewing. But if you're just gonna be like, the chewing at the like, just then stop it.
Well, I like to chew while I listen to you make a point.
Okay. You want me to keep making points?
No, please stop.
Okay.
No, I did research, and it was Jason Statham for a long time. He dropped out like weeks before they started shooting because he didn't like the direction of the level of violence. And it makes sense, because I felt like this was a violent script, because he's a professional.
Well, wait. Is this like Steven Seagal talking about the violence during Glimmerman? Because Statham's in a ton of really fucking violent movies. And
no, I think Statham wanted it to be more violent. And I could kind of feel that, because the guy's a professional torturer and hitman, and they pull all their punches in that regard. There's only a few times where
they wanted them to be buddies. They want them to be buddies by the end. They didn't want him to be like super scary.
Right. So I'd imagine maybe the initial script that attached him, and I'm just speculating here, was, this is a buddy action movie, but one of the guys is a fucking psycho torturer, who's crazy capable and is very, very violent. And that's fun. And the producers kept pulling back on that until he got in a fight with the producers and left. Well, they say that he got in a fight with the producers and left. That's not me. So I'd imagine that's why.
But Woody Harrelson, I think he's a good actor. I love Woody Harrelson and most stuff. I don't think he did a bad job here. I think he still is kind of, brings a lot for he's turning 60, I think, this month. And he still kind of actually pulls off that badass shit pretty well. He can be kind of menacing and stuff like that, going back to like Natural Born Killers and stuff. Like I thought he was good at, but yeah, I thought that their chemistry.
Nothing.
No,
Nothing.
the character. I mean, the arc. I mean, everything was so predictable, and yeah.
And he was dressed just like Jason Statham. Like at least bring something new to the character. You're basically playing Jason Statham at that point.
It was like a last minute stand in, and the whole thing felt like it. And I think this movie might have had more. Just it seemed like a better. It was like the concept was almost like Hart and Statham. Let's put them together because like Hart's been a bunch of rock movies like the Hart Rock and Kevin Hart. Boom. So that seemed like so then they lost Jason Statham and just had, we've already gone so far in this development, but the whole thing was based on those two being in a movie together, I think.
One thing that kept coming back to me watching this was the joke they used, which was very odd. They just reused the joke from Kingpin where they say something to Teddy, and then I was like, hey, but Woody Harrelson, the Munson, the butt of that joke in Kingpin. Yeah. You reached the joke.
So let me ask you this. I was gonna say I had that. I was like, so do you think that was an homage, a ripoff, or just a coincidence?
I don't think the people making this movie do homages. They might do a few ripoffs, but I don't think they're ripping off Kingpin. So I do think it was a coincidence. I really do.
A coincidence? Do you think Woody Harrelson might be like, hey, you're doing this joke that I
don't think Woody Harrelson remembers doing fucking Kingpin.
Doesn't give a shit. Excuse me, ladies. This joke was in my movie Kingpin. My Woody Harrelson impression.
It's really good.
Well, we probably should talk about like Woody Harrelson's father, who is an actual hitman that went to jail in Texas. That's interesting. He took this role, but again, I think like you said, I don't think he thinks about anything. It's just like, what's the next movie?
I think he probably Statham dropped out so late that they probably needed a last minute cast.
Oh, did he?
So he probably got a pretty fat bag just to show up and do this. So it was probably just work.
And he's still a name, he's still a name guy.
Oh, yeah.
So
he's not nobody. And you had to play against Hart, and they were like, the movie's ready to go. But his dad was actually hitman. He assassinated a politician and got back-to-back, not life sentences, maybe it was. So he's rotted away in prison. Woody Harrelson has talked about it in interviews. You want to seek him out.
Yeah.
He's pretty much like indifferent about it. What else are you gonna do? My dad's
what
a hitman who did that. Like, he doesn't get passionate about it or anything.
Yeah. Really weird trivia about that. I know you're a Cormac McCarthy fan.
Mm-hmm.
Have you read No Country for Old Men, the book? Yeah. Well, in the opening, which is like basically the opening of the opening narration for Tommy Lee Jones is almost taken directly from the book.
Yeah, that's one of the most perfect adaptations as far as book to screen. It's like the most faithful. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. There is a passage that they left out. I don't know if they just did this for time or anything, but like where the sheriff is talking about in the early 80s, that's where the story takes place, about this guy who just killed this federal judge in Texas. And he's talking about Woody Harrelson's actual father. And then Woody Harrelson is actually in that movie. Yeah.
I did not know that. So it wasn't a politician, it was a federal judge. Pretty ballsy to walk up and kill a federal judge.
Well, if you don't give a fuck, I don't think it matters like who it is.
I don't think his dad gave a fuck. I don't think Woody Harrelson gave a fuck. I don't think he knew that about No Country for Old Men. I don't think he's scouring things, protecting his legacy.
Do you think that, like when he was saying goodbye to his dad in the prison, he's like, you got to make me a promise. You go to Hollywood and get on a sitcom. That's what I always wanted to do. I just had to kill people instead because I couldn't make it out there.
But Dad, I hate sitcoms. You do what your dad tells you.
Yeah. Okay, Dad.
Here's this. Do you think Coach died of natural causes, or do you think maybe something fishy happened there?
Oh, shit. I haven't heard that conspiracy. Woody Harrelson takes over the part, becomes a star. Coincidence?
I don't know.
Or did the hitman's son fucking step up?
I don't know.
Apple tree? Not very far.
It doesn't even have to be that. I mean, my dad's a hitman. Maybe he knows a bunch of hitmen. Maybe they know how to kill people. Maybe I want to be on a sitcom, a certain part. Old man.
Well, it would be funny though to pick someone off a sitcom to kill, and then like they're gonna create a new part for me. Like it's not like the guy like it wasn't like he was up for an audition and he killed the next guy that was in line for the part.
Quit poking holes in my theory. It's soundproof.
Okay, sorry, but I digress.
I like in this movie. I like the fast hitmen. They're like superhumanly fast, and like jumping around. That was fun. No problem with that. I like the speed of the action.
the speed that's getting a little that whole like that where they kind of slow down and they kind of go zoom again, and they slow down again, zoom again. That I think that's getting a little annoying. That's been done now a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
They made a good attempt of keeping the camera moving instead of like it wasn't like cut to shit like a lot of modern
Yeah,
action. They made an attempt at that, but it looked so
a couple.
fake, like they
Yeah.
were fucking tricking it, like weaving shots together in post.
Well, yeah, a couple of the scenes, I guess, how we call it, like fight choreography or like like the action stuff. Like it wasn't that bad, and it was actually it was a neat set piece. And then all of a sudden, when the special effects came in, like the explosions or something, it looked so fake, it kind of took you out of it.
Mhm.
But some of the action scenes weren't that bad. I'm actually wondering about the whole release, as far as it was very strange seeing like Netflix and then Sony
Oh, it
at
was
the
all
beginning of it.
pandemic.
Well,
So
pandemic, okay.
yeah, it was supposed to release in like 2020. It just kept getting pushed back. Eventually, Netflix just bought it and dropped it a month ago. This has been in the can for a while. This ice isn't bothering you, right? You're cool.
Yeah, that's getting annoying. Yeah, why are you chewing on ice stuff? What do you just like ice at your dinner or something?
This is my dinner.
Yeah, you gotta eat more than ice for
You
dinner.
try to
buddy.
make rent in fucking Studio City, okay? You probably have a steak out there in Long Beach. Watch your fireworks from the beach. All right.
Is this like is this part of your COVID stuff? You have to, is it doctor says you eat ice all the time?
Yeah, doctor. Like I get a doctor. I just told you.
Yeah,
I'm in Studio City.
yeah. I
eating
went
ice
to
for
Doctor.
dinner.
I went
Yeah.
to Doctor Freeze.
Yeah, Dr.
Ice all the
Phil
time.
came over. Check my pulse. Ugh,
Wait. Yeah.
sorry.
Stop it. Oh, the Cyrano scene. That's probably that's when I knew like get me the fuck out of this movie. I just got the Cyrano scene where someone is like out messing with people and someone is telling them what to say, like
Oh, yeah.
somewhere, like in that whole boardroom scene.
Mhm.
God, that was bad. And just I was just like, oh my God. And he starts like vomiting on people. I was like, oh, this is the payoff. And that wow.
Not the most creative set piece, but at
Mhm.
least they tried to use a set piece. I'll give them that.
They did. They did. I think I'm kind of
What about
over
the trans riff? That was surprising to me.
trans
little-
riff. Oh, when he's like defending, like it's called
Yeah,
Gender
trans
neutral,
people,
yeah.
general people. It's always fun to have a trans riff. Hey, let's push boundaries in this
Is it?
stupid fucking dad movie. I don't
Did they
know.
push boundaries? I don't even remember.
No, I don't.
remember
I
them
mean, not for
doing that.
me.
Yeah.
I don't know, but why even like? I don't know. It just
Why didn't bring that up? Because
Yeah.
he said something of the now cultural. It's like a pop culture rep, or not pop culture, but like if you just say something like back in the 90s when they just say Hillary Clinton in a movie and everyone would laugh, like I get it.
and then like yeah, but
That's the
then
president's
later
wife.
he's sewing up his ass, and the guy goes in the bathroom. He's like, "Whoa, oh, guy on his knees next to another guy's ass, yikes!" and walks out. What
Oh,
year
yeah,
is
like-
this?
Like a gay panic joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a lot of those in the buddy action comedy. We should when we do our awards, which brings me to my next. When we do our awards, we should have like best gay panic joke. But oh yeah, I think I'm over the whole partner accidentally shoots the partner. Buddy actually shoots his buddy. That's that's it so much. And go ahead.
No. Did it happen twice in this? I know he definitely shot Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
He got
Yeah.
shot in the ass, but I don't think it was Woody Harrelson. But yeah, that's pretty tired.
Is that even like surprising or outrageous anymore that it happens? Like just
Nothing in
like,
this movie
okay.
was surprising or outrageous. It was just,
Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. Everything's bad. But I thought it was weird. What's weird when I looked these up, I didn't realize that the actor played the man from Miami.
Mhm.
And the other actor played the Colonel. I was like, I haven't seen those guys in anything, but they're not bad. I mean, they're okay, as far as villains go. They're both on The Bold and the Beautiful soap opera, and that's
Interesting.
about it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as far as a big Netflix release with Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson and stuff, but like the two villains besides Ellen Barkin. Spoiler alert. Is
By the way,
these
I had
guys
her
are
pegged.
Bold and Beautiful.
I didn't know who it was, and I was like, "Who is that?" And I had her pegged by
Yeah.
the like second time I heard her voice. Like, that's Ellen Barkin.
Uh-huh.
I was pretty proud of
Yeah.
that. You probably had it the second you heard her.
I didn't have it the second I heard her, but I could kind of like, I was like, that voice is really familiar. But I think I eventually got it when she appeared on screen or something. They didn't really give her a lot of close-ups though. That was strange. everything was like a wide or like a far behind her or something. That was nuts.
People are so afraid of aging women, especially in a movie like this.
Really? Like, oh my God, she's an age appropriate. Yeah.
Are you still fucking find her attractive? No. Yeah.
Well, that's like those Star Wars nerds with Carrie Fisher. She's like, she doesn't look the same as in 1977. It's like, yeah, when you look different from you're 17 to 60. Like, what the? Do you guys not know about aging? Like, what the fuck?
I'm scared. Yeah, it's gonna happen to you too, brother. I counted. These are some of my least favorite things. It's more of a writerly thing, but once you notice it, what as a line? What? Seriously? And come on. There were 3 of those in this movie that I counted. It's they're not jokes.
Really?
Seriously? Come on.
That's just it's a nothing comment, nothing comeback.
Exactly. I can't stand it. I counted 3 in this movie, all of them from Woody Harrelson. And there was a lot of ADR for Woody Harrelson's lines. I don't know if he just wasn't funny enough and they had to go through and ADR some jokes for him.
They probably tried a ton of lines, and that's what I was thinking. It was weird because I think Sony actually might have wanted to dump this movie when they had it. So I think Netflix I think Netflix acquired it. I think they basically just was like, we'll pay for it, even though I know it's quarantine, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think Sony had a lot. Like they weren't that happy with this.
I agree, but the thing is, they did this for 70 million because of all the green screen and everything. So I think if everything worked out, they would have just released it because it would have made its money, especially internationally. Then it just kept going along and along. Like, why don't we just sell it to Netflix?
Netflix, and I think they would have maybe stepped up the special effects, so they already dumped that much into it. But they're like, well, Netflix probably like, well, we'll buy it for 80 million or something. But whatever. But I want to say like that. The villain death, one of our other favorite villain deaths so far in this like show has been the cowboy way with the roping.
Yeah, to the train. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that stupid fucking dunk tank that Ellen Barkin falls into.
That would have been a surprising reveal.
What's that? Oh, Ellen
DeGeneres. His handler was Ellen DeGeneres.
Right, but like that was just a fucking really silly, really out of place, like 60s James Bond, like. I don't know. Was the movie pretty much over at that point for you? And you're like, I don't give a fuck. It's all.
I mean, she dies like the Joker gets created, which is funny. But boiling to death.
You fall into a boiling pot after he hits a lever like a trap door.
Yeah.
Like, how would he know that was there? I don't know.
The movie there were parts in it where I was like, they just didn't even think about anything. Like they're about to go into the nice restaurant, and Woody Harrelson goes, "Oh, I know of this place." They have a great, because he's like the chef, this great type of, what's it called? Dessert or whatever the fuck. And it has a fancy name. So it's very specific. He knows what he's talking about. Then he gets into the restaurant. Literally, they've just walked into the restaurant. All of a sudden, he doesn't know how restaurants work. And like, he needs a jacket. And he's acting all fucking weird and shit. Like, how do you know about this restaurant? It's very specific, exotic cuisine. Then you get in there and you're just a fucking idiot hitman.
Because it's not consistent character inconsistencies versus what the scene needs. This scene needs a guy who's ignorant of, okay, what I have to put on a jacket, I have to do this, I have to do that, but then you knew about this place. Like it just seems like bad writing, bad staging, all that stuff. Well, this director, I mean, he did Expendables 3, which is another not very inspired movie. I'm not a big fan of the Expendables movies, really. But even though I should be, which is very frustrating to me.
Yeah.
But he also did The Hitman's Bodyguard, which
it's not your fault. Yeah. It's not your fault.
Oh, thank you. I wrestle with that and
it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Okay, Robin Williams. Anyway, but he also did The Hitman's Bodyguard, which I thought about covering on this series, even though I saw it like 5-6 years ago when it came out. I thought it was really like bad, but it was like that was like the last really big hit buddy action comedy movie. Even though Samuel L. Jackson's like a tired, way old man, like for this to be like the ultimate badass at like 75 or something. But I thought that was very uninspired, but it was a huge hit. So yeah, I don't know, but this is like his style, I guess. I don't know.
This is very much in style with that movie, and I'm assuming the sequel, The Hitman's Wife Bodyguard. And also, I was reading the director wants to share the universes where Kevin Hart, Woody Harrelson, and and they all
crossover.
Yeah.
They start doing the ring, and then all of a sudden the guy steps through, and it's all the
I
Expendables.
don't think that's gonna happen for him, but I could be wrong.
I
Crappier
could be
movies have been
wrong.
made, but Hitman's
What
Bodyguard, the sequel, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard,
sequel?
bombed pretty bad.
The just the term, the Hitman's Bodyguard universe. Like, God, like if that gets to movie 5 or 6, like
That was a problem with this movie too. The man from whatever is its thing, and then they don't even use it till like the last 20 minutes. And then we get the man,
Right.
there's Man from Miami earlier, but then we get the man from Tokyo. Then we're like, oh, we're gonna have fun with this premise. Too late.
Also,
Too fucking late.
that group, the guys from Tacoma who have like overalls and chainsaws are all lumberjacks.
Yeah.
Tacoma, I would say, is the California equivalent of Oakland. This is not a rural, just because it's in the same state as lumberjacks, but it's like it's like Oakland or something. It's not a like place for lumberjacks.
They probably have an
It's-
IMAX and stuff, right?
Yeah, they have an IMAX. They have everything. Like, they have everything you need. It's the second largest city next to Seattle, so it's not a little town in the woods at all. No.
Well, Tokyo also isn't full of
Samurai sword wielding guys. So stupid. It's like, is this Major League 2? Are we having the fucking samurai guy going, oh, you
And I like
okay?
it. And also, the man from Toronto is the least Canadian person that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Why didn't they make him more Canadian? That could be something.
Yeah. Woody Harrelson is not doing any sort of like, he does not
he's
seem
from
to be
fucking Texas, isn't he? Or Indiana or wherever the fuck. Yeah, he's not doing anything.
Texas, yeah. Not doing anything, yeah. So, okay, so overall, how would you rate Man from Toronto?
It's just so boring. As a movie, I give 2 as a movie and 2 as a buddy movie. They had no chemistry. The action was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It was slick. I couldn't wait for it to fucking end. I couldn't believe it was still going on a lot of times. Not unlike you, I kept checking the time going, Jesus Christ, that's a bad sign. I would never want to watch this again. So I give it 2 out of stars for both movie and a buddy action comedy movie.
Well, on just my scale of movies that, to watch, I think I have to give it like a 2, maybe even a 1.5, because I didn't really enjoy this movie at all. I know, people think like, what? You gave like Stop or Mom Will Shoot like 3 stars and stuff, but like I like those old, like you were saying, old movies have some charm about them, and this one I just didn't really have any charm. It seemed like such a product, and I was just so bored with it. And apparently it's not rated well with users. Something's like a 5.7 on IMDb, which is really low for a brand new release movie.
Yeah, I do worry some of that is just racism against Kevin Hart, because I was reading some of the reviews and it's all about Kevin Hart's not funny.
Really?
Kevin Hart's not funny, blah blah blah. But I could
Once
be
you don't
wrong.
find Kevin Hart funny doesn't mean you're a racist. I mean, you can.
No, but some of it's a
Yeah.
microcosm. It's like with Amy Schumer does anything, she gets bombarded with negative reviews saying, "Hey, hate Amy Schumer. She's not funny." I'm not a big Amy Schumer fan, but a lot of that comes from a sexist place. Just
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah,
No,
I mean, I don't
think there's a lot of maybe to it. Look, the movie sucks. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but then
I
someone
know
said,
it's
like, "Well, you're a racist for not liking it." What would you say? Like, would you say like,
I don't think
there's some
that-
truth in that?
I don't like it
what?
just
Like,
because of Hart. The movie's bad all around, but almost all of those reviews are.
Well, Hart's a
shitting
very
on.
likable guy. Even though I think
Yeah.
he has a very likable screen persona. I think if he had a good script and some good direction, I think he could really excel in something. It's just
All right,
I
we're
don't
running
know
out of
why
time here. How did
Ian
this?
The Rock is doing this stuff.
I think so too. I think he's still got a lot to do in his future. How did this movie make you feel? What'd you learn from it? We're running out of time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I was just thinking the whole time about, are these movies good for Netflix or not? I don't know. They have great ratings, but would they bomb? I think it would bomb in a theater.
I think it would have done fine in the theater for 70 million if it came out when it was expected to. I do think Harrelson's too old for the action movies. Kenny, Roe versus Wade, what do you think? It got overturned. You pro-choice, you pro-life?
Oh gosh, if I had to pick one, I would be pro